Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. We're looking at David's Super Easy, and as I've said so many times, there just never seems to be anything easy about these saws. This one's got multiple symptoms, multiple problems. What it was originally sent to me for was that. Bad news. But, came with a NOS handle from eBay. Bad news there. That previous owner had stored it incorrectly and let mud daubers build a nest in there. So on this good handle, I had to clean a whole bunch of crap out of the manual oil plunger. And that wasn't easy. Or quick, I can tell you that much. It made one hell of a mess. But I got all that together, got it started, and it was taking off revving way too fast at idle. I started the diagnosis. Needed to clean the ignition system. That crank seal was definitely leaking. I could tell that simply by looking at it. But it still wasn't right when I got all that back together. So, decided I was going to pressurize it and find out exactly where the leak was. I've inspected the reed valve assembly and all that. See if I can make as few bubbles as possible here. That's good. Alright, you guys can see that, I think. I'll try to zoom it in the video. I'm doing the editor, but let's just pump up. Hey, what do you know? Ain't supposed to do that. It's that cute little mess. That's a significant leak. I've had them with runnability issues with far less of a leak than that. So, it's uncommon for me personally to find this side of the saw leaking. Usually it is the flywheel side, but hey, whatever, it is what it is. We're just going to pop that bad boy out and get on with life. This saw had been this way for a while. I can tell that by all the carbon built up in the muffler. And this saw, I don't know, I believe it's new to David, but I can tell it's had some funny stuff happen to it. There's a hole punched in the muffler can right over here that I can't figure out. I mean, the location, actually maybe I did just figure it out looking at the drive case cover over here. Alright. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on video with this, because if you guys go to replace a crankshaft seal, you'll experience all this jazz right here that I'm doing. There it goes. Damn. Oh boy. Oh shit. Okay, pardon the French. Remember I said I'd been doing this for a while? Well, it has. Look at this. That is all material that has been ingested around that crankshaft seal. So what we have here is a classic case of the saw was trying to tell somebody what was happening to it, and someone didn't know what to listen for. And I'm not being critical about that. It's just an honest statement. The carburetor was set super rich. So see all this carbon? I mean, that was just an easy scrape. So this thing's been running rich for a while. All this trash right here, it has gotten past the crankshaft seal. It says it's run for a while like this. Alright, now that is not excessive play on that bearing, so I don't think it got roached. But I gotta get all that crap cleaned out of there. The muffler, like I say, has got a hole right there. And this drive case cover has this big area blown out. Now that lines up perfectly with where that hole is, so I don't know if something got jammed up in there around the chain or what, I have no idea. But what this saw would have been doing, so it was set really rich, you can get them to idle down like that. Even with that kind of a leak, you let off the throttle, if you have the low side set rich enough, it's going to start flooding out. Now with that much air that it was sucking, it's conceivable that this thing would halfway idle for a little while. Sooner or later, I have to assume it would bog out and, load up too much. But so when I said somebody didn't know what to listen for, that racing engine is it. When I'd start this thing, it would take off. I could rev it hard, and then it would come back down after 2 or 3 seconds, because it was set very rich. Now, I played with it to verify kind of what was going on, but as a crank seal starts leaking, you're going to get more and more lean, and you can slowly adjust it out until it gets so bad that, it becomes a real runnability issue. But if you have your saw, you're out there cutting on a day, and all of a sudden, either it stumbles as you're revving it, or it's just idling too high, figure out why. Now, it could just be hot, and you've got pressure built up in your fuel tank. And if you crack your fuel cap and you hear a big psh, your saw's getting pretty hot. Now, you could just be working it hard. Could be a tuning issue. Could be sawdust built up inside the engine. It's not cooling properly. In this case, it was that crank seal that had gone bad. And why it went bad on this side, I really don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. That's enough of me jabbering. I'm going to put a new seal in this, replace this muffler body, and then hopefully come back for a test run that sounds normal. Okay, so we got all kinds of fun stuff going on here. This crank seal is now solid. It's new. But I was getting leakage around the decompression valve. So what I've done is I've taken these screws loose, and then we'll just be able to slip that out. Because I had taken the spring right here and just taken it off the part that it indexes there. Now, Homelite, for some saws, I don't know about this particular saw, had they called a ridge reaming tool, or seat tool, whatever the hell it was. It was supposed to help deal with these things when they started leaking. Well, there's a bunch of carbon buildup on there. I'm going to gamble that I can get away with just cleaning it up, because I'm looking down in there and the seat itself is shiny. There's not a bunch of trash on it. About all I can go with. And I've already taken the block off plate out of here as I was reassembling everything. And so we're not going to be able to test it, but I'll know by the way it runs. And this leak wasn't as bad as the the crank seal over here, but it is another thing to keep an eye on, especially a saw like this that has been carboned up. Okay, test run time. finally, that saw took more effort than 3 or 4 saws should take, with all the stuff it had wrong with it to track down. See if I can get the final tally right. Throttle handle, the repairs on that new throttle handle, muffler blown out, carbon, extreme carbon in the muffler port, points needed cleaning, both crankshaft seals needed replaced, sprocket bad. Seems like there's something I'm forgetting. Fuel hose, grommet for the air filter, spark plug. I think my wife might be home. Cleaning the carbon out of the compression release port. I think that's enough for one saw. David, I'm going to let this sit, give it a day or two, see if it fires up normally. If it does, it's coming back to you.